This is Al Sharpton's final memo to Donald Trump from the MSNBC network. And compared to Sharpton, I would show no forgiveness on this.
Well, Mr. President, we made it. The final memo to Trump of your presidency. Though I do reserve the right to bring this segment back if you do something particularly egregious in your retirement, I thought I would make this final memo a kind of retrospective on your administration. I'm calling it 4 Years in Hate. As I'm sure you can imagine, Mr. President, it would be impossible to fit all your hateful words into the time allotted. My show is only an hour long, so I'm focused on your deeds. We'll start with the very first days of your presidency, when without warning, you signed an executive order intended to ban Muslims from traveling to the United States. This attempt at upholding a racist campaign promise stranded thousands of people in airports, kept families separated from their dying relatives, and spent years being appealed and rewritten. Eventually, you succeeded in drafting an executive order hateful enough to bar 7% of the world's population. And speaking of hateful and misguided campaign promises, your hatred of immigrants caused you to oversee the longest government shutdown in U.S. history in an attempt to extort money for your border wall, a failed initiative in any case, because most undocumented immigrants come here legally and overstayed their visas rather than illegally crossing any borders. But you've never been one to let facts get in your way of your racism. Probably your most heinous immigration policy was family separation on the southern border. You tore thousands of children, some of them just babies, from the arms of their families in a sadistic attempt to punish their parents. Hundreds of those children are still separated from their families today. But immigrants weren't the only group that suffered under your hateful agenda. Your 2016 campaign targeted millions of black voters, trying to keep us away from the polls on Election Day. And later, when you got into power, you and your party purged black voters from the rolls, closed polling places in majority black districts, and sabotaged the U.S. Postal Service, all in a transparent attempt to stop black people from voting. And recently, when it was clear you had lost, your legal team went to court trying to invalidate vote totals from some of the blackest cities in America. And let's not forget your most efficient vehicle for hate, Twitter. You fired off tweets at all hours, telling congresswomen of color to go back to where they came from, threatened peaceful racial justice protesters, and maligned majority black districts. All this only seemed to embolden your most ardent supporters. Hate crimes surged nearly 20% during your administration, Mr. President, hitting a 16-year high. Meanwhile, teachers reported a surge of bullying in schools, with the bullies quoting the words of you, the president, to victimize their targets. One study showed that school bullying increased most in districts won by you, Mr. President. Given the current climate in this country, I think we can all agree that you failed to make America great again. But you did manage to make America hate again. You and your sycophants in the Republican Party have eschewed unity for power at every turn. And now, with our democracy in shambles, you'll be leaving office in shame. But I'm a Christian, Mr. President, and a preacher by trade. So if you have time in your retirement to crack open the Bible you brandished this summer in front of St. John's Church, you too can learn about forgiveness. Turn to the book of John, Mr. President, and read with me. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. You have a lot of confessing to do before you can be cleansed of all the unrighteousness, Mr. President, but your soul will thank you for it. Keep in mind, though, that even though God may forgive you for your years of hateful acts, the American people and the criminal justice system have no such obligation. But don't worry, Mr. President, I have it on good authority that Bible study is an approved activity in prison.
Today being the last day, the last full day of Donald Trump's presidency, I can't even call it the presidency. I have to call it his reign as dictator of the United States. I have to celebrate. But tomorrow, I'm going to release a video, my last and final thoughts of Donald Trump. And you'll be surprised at what I say, but most importantly, you'll understand why I say it. Why I had to do what I had to do in the last 4 years. And more to the point, why I have to continue to do this on this channel and on my Facebook page, CTP Know the Truth. But more importantly, because we have to have checks and balances in this government so something like the last 4 years of Donald Trump never happens again. CTP Know the Truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.